I remember reading something about a philosopher named Martin Buber. And when he died, one of the things that was said about him, that he was asked, what is the meaning of life? And he said, the meaning of life is to wear a very big coat that has two big pockets. And in one pocket, you reach in, and it says, the world was made for me. And the other pocket, you reach in, and it says, I am but dust and ashes.
What is oneness to me? Helping one person at a time. Be a daily joy spreader. Smile at people when you see them. And each step you take, you can kind of make a big difference.
There's a beautiful African word that's Ubuntu, which means I am because you are.
Well, I think when you think of one, you think of unity. But for me, when I think of one, the image really of diversity comes to mind.
Definition of one with my family is hanging out, having fun on rainy days. Almost everything you do with your family is all in that definition of one.
I recognize that computers and their complexities deal only in ones and zeros. So like if we strip all the, gadgetry away from it, it's one or nothing, Sometimes it'll tend to be an idea that every human being could circle around and focus on. So that's that one element.
I believe that everybody can make a difference. It doesn't have to be a worldwide difference. It's touching one life at a time and making a difference in that life.
One of who we are, I think it's who you are now, and that is a collection of who you have been up to that point and who you have met and what you have done and what you've experienced.
The power of one, or oneness as a whole, it's based on action.
A word that means interconnection.
While one is very singular, it is also a connection.
To believe in something is like lighting a candle. It's that quick to truly believe.
A friend of mine told me one time there's three parts of life: learning, earning, and returning. And if you're fortunate enough to be able to get into that returning mode, then, you're probably making a difference somewhere.
From the moment we are born, we join together with the whole of mankind. And with each day, we are given an extraordinary opportunity to impact. By our very existence, we are a significant piece, making up the whole. We do not have to earn our significance. We simply are.
If you do believe in the fact that our universe is one common singular consciousness, then you cannot define yourself as being significant or insignificant. I'm not a fragment of this universe. I am this universe, and so are you. And so is every other individual that collectively comes together to define humanity.
We are all a significant piece of humanity because we are all part of this masterpiece, and we are all manifesting a specific mission and a specific learning. And that's the beauty of it. Before I used to think about God, I thought about God like being a guy in heaven, bearded guy with blue eyes and white, right? And now my experience of God, I understand that that's a way for me as a kid to relate to that, or for someone in 2,000 years ago or 5,000 years ago to get a grasp of it. But I think now we're developed enough to understand that God is literally, like they teach you in church, they say God is everywhere. Well, guess what? It's literally everywhere. It's in every single molecule.
That I am a child of God like everyone else. And my significance is because I am here. And because I am here is enough.
We're all part of God. And so how can we not be a masterpiece of His creation when we are all part of who He is? And when we are all in development, learning our lessons, and with a very specific mission that we come with the opportunity, if we choose to manifest.
The invisible thread that connects us is love. Each act of love and generosity circumvents the world indefinitely. Prior generations have supplied enough loving kindness to last throughout our lifetimes and beyond.
Well, generically speaking, I think our gift to others and ourselves is really love. That's something that every one of us has the potential within ourselves to give and to receive. So I think generically speaking, I definitely know that that's inside every one of us.
We're created to love and serve, period. So I look at my existence as being on this planet for a relatively short period of time in the big scheme of things.
Now, how you use that love or how you give that love and receive love is different for different people. For certain people, it's having a family. For certain people, it's raising children. For certain people, it could be through their work, through their mission. I think it really could play out very differently, but I think generically speaking, at the end of the day, it's about love.
Love, it's the thread that brings us all together as a people. That's all there is. It's so simple. It is love. Love is the only thing that binds us together. Love for each other, love for our children, love for our dogs, love for whatever. It's that tiny little thread that makes us human.
Even if you are homeless, you can make a difference. You can do something. You can be an angel. To be an angel with an encouraging word, to lift the souls of a broken heart or whatever, to lift someone up. There are so many acts of kindness that one could do that can really change the trajectory of one human life by doing that one thing of kindness, of offering and serving someone, of encouragement and lifting them up.
We are the beneficiaries of all acts of kindness from the beginning of time.
Each person can affect other people's life. And we're hoping everyone, by seeing this, think about it, and every single day, every moment of their life, try to do one small positive thing.
Every little thing we do has the potential to have such impact and effect on other people that we will never, ever know.
And imagine, one positive thing a day, if we do, is like more than 30 a month positive things that we'll do. And each person, if we do that, only in small community, how many positive things can happen.
Imagination allows us the illusion of divisiveness. Though in real time, it does not exist unless we say it does. We create our own thoughts and words. However, that does not supersede the truth or wisdom that innately guides us.
The only boundaries that exist are the ones we create in our mind.
I think the separateness of human beings is a learned experience. The basic innate nature of human beings is to cooperate and love each other. And we teach our children hatred, and we shouldn't. We should be teaching themselves love. And once you do that, then people, as adults, they're going to go out and spread love in this world and not fear.
One thing that I believe is the most powerful thing that brings us all together and makes us common. And if we spend enough time with one another, and we will see that we are exact duplicates of one another, our feelings.
Emotions that people feel, life experiences. I mean, everybody, I was sitting at a bar the other night after I got off work, and this guy who obviously had a lot more money than me and this young college girl on this side of me, all of a sudden we're all talking about, close friends we had all just lost, because this guy was mourning. And this guy's paid the entire bar's bar tab right here. And, I've had $50 in my pocket from a horrible shift, and this girl who was probably living on student loans, but in that drunken haze of this guy, I was totally sober. I just gotten off work, but like the three of us connected. I mean, there was head shaking, and it's like, I know how you feel. I've been there, done that. So commonality is definitely life experiences and the emotions that go with it. And I think that those experiences are what could possibly, maybe bring some people together.
No matter where we come from, no matter how old we are, no matter what our physical attributes are, our thoughts may be different. We may be looking at the same thing and see different things. We may read something and interpret it different ways. But our feelings are the same. When I feel happy, and when I feel joyful, I feel the same exact thing that you do when you are happy. Now, I may become happy because of some other reason than you are, but the sheer feeling of happiness is what's common between us.
We've been functioning in a really disconnected world, and I see that tide turning. I see more and more people connecting and realizing that there's so much more than the materialism and the paychecks, that it's about community, and it's about helping each other, and it's about coming together and working as one.
It makes perfect sense to then, for us to focus on that commonality, because for as long as I look at what is different between you and I, then all I can find out is the things that you will say and I don't understand, the things that I will say and you don't understand. But if I focus on what is common between us, then we have a common language, regardless of whether I'm speaking Japanese or French.
My biggest obstacle is getting me out of the way. Once I realize that, hey, I can do this, or I can achieve this or get the help to achieve what I'm trying to, then, from that is a catalyst to continue to move forward and make greater things happen.
One of the tragic things, too, that happens as you grow older is that you become a little bit more cynical. And then maybe that heart does close and you become more suspect of people. And so I think that's a constant battle we all face because we do live in the midst of diversity. And, and our pushback shows up in all kinds of ways, whether it's racism or sexism or whatever. I mean, it's a constant battle that we as a culture face. Who's in, who's out, and it's something that we need to deal with.
I can still open that bottle and, continue to tap into and really build upon what I think that I can't accomplish right now.
We're all fragments of the whole. Yes, we can function independently, but I think too many people do that to a detriment.
I believe that we have the power as humanity, as a whole, to accomplish anything that that is placed here on this earth, that we can do whatever we imagine because there are no limits to what's in our capacity in our minds. I think the longer or the more we continue to exercise that and tap into it, we'll see those advancements amongst our race or humanity.
The more that we interact and rely on each other and connect with others, the more whole and satisfied we are.
We are born into oneness, and no time within infinity will that ever change. What can change, though, is our willingness to seek the wisdom of that truth. Once we do, we are forever changed.
Trying to change others or try to be that change that Gandhi spoke about is just by being yourself, by being exactly that you want to be, that you want to see manifested in the world. So inspiring others is working in myself and saying like, look, I used to be very jealous. I used to be very dramatic. I used to get angry all the time. I used to judge people. I used to think that they were right, they were wrong because I was right. And I used to go through life trying to win arguments and prove that I was so good and so successful and so right. And the rest of the world was wrong because I knew how to do it. I was embracing my ego and I was in my ego. I did all of that. And you know what? It took me to the hospital many times. It got me physically and mentally sick. It got me in an emotional roller coaster that was horrible. So I've experienced all kinds of relationships with producers, with girlfriends, with my own mother, with my family, with my country, with everything. I've experienced the rough way. I've experienced the violent and separated way of showing up in life. So the best inspiration I can give to people is like, hey, listen, I took on a different path. I'm not saying that my tools are the best tools or the only tools in the world, but I can just share what has worked for me, and that's what I do. And by showing them how my life has changed, I think that's the best inspiration you can give to others. Like, look at me, I am happier. And the people who know me, they go like, man, you've come a long way from that teenager that I met, and I was always a nice person, but I was crazy, emotional, and not very peaceful or calm, and very, very, very judgmental.
If we can change one thing, how about 10? If we can change 10, how about 100? If we can change 100, how about 1,000 and beyond? So evolutionary change, who we came here to be, why we exist, has always been of interest to me, even as a small child. So it made me a little different, but different, I would come to find, was a design feature, like musical ability, or the ability to listen well, or to dance professionally. To be a little odd, to be a little weird is of the spirit. And I can safely say I have followed the thread of that weirdness throughout my life. As I mentioned, I have always been and still am interested in the maximum change possible. So I'm especially interested in the cutting edge. What's next? Who are we now, and what are we designed to become? Who are we now and where are we going? What is it that we want collectively for ourselves as our legacy, as our inheritance?
The world changes, or in other words, the experience of the world changes for me when I decide to change, which is great news. It means that the more I change, the more the world will show with me in reciprocity.
Cultivating oneness in family, community, and the world is our only purpose here on Earth.
What's better? Global impact or an impact on one person? And then I think for now, I'd rather be a good dad.
So that I think the more you can find need for yourself almost everywhere. You are given certain gifts, they should be utilized. And when you do that, you bring happiness to those around you.
Passion is our single gift when we enter the world. And in all ways, it will find its way into our life's purpose. That purpose is to perpetuate humanity's oneness.
I have a deep desire to be used to impact humanity. And I believe that as a man, as the head of a family, as the head of this community, by being submissive to the structures in Swaziland, by being answerable and obedient to the calling I believe we've received as an organization, I believe we have been used to impact this community. Just through the creation of 500 jobs, through rescuing 340 children from unimaginable situations and conditions in their communities. I believe we are making a difference, and a significant difference. Many people are seeing us as a beacon of hope and a center of hope. Many people who haven't known how to unlock the potential in their own communities are turning to us to see how do you bring community development, infrastructure development, business principles, but also godly principles of love and honor. How do you bring all of this together into a community that can raise a future generation of Swazi leaders? And 7 years into this process now, we can really see the fruit of this process, and people are looking to us. So yes, we've got a direct impact on our small community around us, but I do believe we've got a global message that it is possible for a group of believers and Christians and people with passion to create a role model for other communities, and particularly in Africa.
And the magic is that we are all raised with different gifts in our hearts and different urgencies in our hearts that I believe are given to you by the universe or by God. And so we cannot do everything, but we can tackle different aspects of the oneness. And when you feel that in your heart, that's exactly what you should follow. So some people have the passion for saving the Amazon, and some others like me have the passion for animals and for kids, and some others have the passion for education and opening libraries or doing documentaries, and I think that's all great, because then we can all manifest and be that change that Gandhi spoke about so much, be the change that you want to see in the world. If we all do our little part, then we can all build a higher level of consciousness and really evolve.
As we coexist on Earth, our gift of giving love and receiving love expands in proportion to our ability to connect. With each physical touch, the transfer of love expands exponentially.
Everything is all connected, so it's not one is not just a nice woo-woo concept to put out there. It's a reality. And when I learned that every single molecule is alive and every single piece of the creation is alive and that it's all connected and the whole universe is connected. And the more I see life and information with this idea that we are all connected, the more I really understand what one means. And that's all it is. So now I try to live my life with that awareness, understanding that every single decision that I make is going to affect me when it comes back, but it's going to affect a lot of other living beings on the way there. So one for me is just the absolute and total connection that we have with our mind, our body, our spirit, the animals, the plants, the ocean, the environment, the universe, the galaxy, everything. Everything is one.
Well, one to me is one with the planet. I always think in global terms, if we are one with the planet, then we can coexist in some kind of harmony. That's my bigger definition probably of one. We are one. We are all part of the same thing. I mean, if the world goes, we go with it. So we are one people. We are all united in the fact that we want to exist. That's global. I think also maybe one with, I think that would probably be it. One with the world.
There's only two forces in life, and that's love and fear. You can live striving for this love and doing everything based on love. But unfortunately, there's that other force, fear, which really drives much of what we do.
And so I define success with what difference can I make today in the moment with the people I'm around, with the things that I do, with situations I find myself in. And to the extent that you can make a difference in that moment, then you're successful.
There are no limits to the abundance of love, as it circles our world at an unstoppable speed.
Intellect is a wonderful thing, but the experiences of that which we are always higher than intellect can go. And my favorite way to demonstrate that is to ask the question, have you ever felt loved? Most people will say yes, of course they felt loved. Have you personally ever loved? And most people will say yes. Prove it. You can't. Now we can talk all day about love. We can ratify it. We can, talk very similarly about it. You and I can have a tremendous conversation about how we know love, because we do. But it's much higher than the intellect can possibly understand. So again, in terms of evolution, it's time for us to put understanding over here and let it serve as the analyzer, right, as the categorizer, and let ourselves blossom into the much higher frequencies of love, peace, bliss, enlightened awareness. They're all higher than intellect can understand. You can't understand a miracle. You can't understand infinity. You can't understand that you are that which is. But you can feel it, you can be it, you can experience it, you can know it, and you can have it.
The idea of helping each other with love and tenderness is inside of each of us. We want to do it. We find it sometimes difficult to find the means to do it. But I think if each one of us tries to make it the better world, the 10 Commandments, loving your neighbor as yourself, we're on the right track.
We are here to caretake and to be taken care of simultaneously, which is referred to as the circle of love. Each moment opens up the possibility to both receive and, at the same time, give back to the circle of love.
This life here, there is something greater and beyond what we can see in this life. And I think it's important for us to learn to help and serve each other, to love each other, to build each other up. That's one of the things that in my life that I needed the most, was someone to come behind me, and even when I fail, to say, hey, you can get up, you can keep going. This is how you do it, or this is what I can do to help you, and this is how we continue down this path.
I've traveled a lot, and I've seen through so many cultures that we are all one. our different colors, our different looks, our different philosophies. We're all the same. We all want the same thing. And I think the more you see of the world, the more people you meet, you realize we're all so similar and we all want the same thing for our children and for ourselves. And we're no different. I think it's not knowing is what is frightening.
You know, it's like some people say, God's never talked to me. And my answer is, well, you're just not listening, because he's talking to us all the time. But you got to pay attention. And it's, you know, it's the same thing with these dropping breadcrumbs. If you're not paying attention, you'll miss a ton of opportunities. And you never know which one of those missed opportunities might have missed changing somebody's life. So it's something you have to stay in tune with.
Martin Luther talked about this, about how, again, it's human nature just to sort of curve in on ourselves. We find our tribe, we find our people, we find our clique, and then we tend to turn in on ourselves. And that is not the call of the church as one. The call of the church as one is to then turn ourselves outward and go out. So as one body, with all these different members making up the one body, all gifted in different ways so that we can be better together, so that we can be more powerful together, so that we can do more together, rather than turning in on ourselves and living only for the benefit of us, we are to turn ourselves outward and to go into the world and serve the world, serve other people. That's our call. That's what Jesus says to us.
There is no singular culture, religion, or generation that is exempt from significance, impact, or leaving a legacy. As we share space with one another here on Earth, our cumulative legacy is born. By our very presence, we are impactful, and on our final day, that impact will define our legacy for centuries thereafter.
Wherever I've traveled, wherever I've been, that I've left it better than I found it, that I've left people better than I found them, that I've helped them, that I've lifted them up, and that I give, you know, that I have served the world, and wherever I have served, that it is better than it was when I found it. And to know that I have impacted the lives of one person, of one mother, of one grandmother, of one woman who's raising her children. And that means the future. That means I have affected generations for the future.
So I think everyone can make a difference, positive or negative, and you strive to make a positive difference. And I think some people have a broader impact on humanity than others. So a guy like Bill Gates has had a huge impact on humanity and continues to do so with the work that he's done outside of Microsoft. So for me, how I fit in that is I think I can still make a difference, but my impact is smaller. And so I guess when I think of it, I try to impact it in a smaller way, in the way that I can think of it and conceptualize it. And that may change, but for now, that's enough for me to have an impact a little bit locally, and as we talked, a little bit globally. So I think you can have an impact, and I think the older I've gotten, the more I've thought about how you make that impact, how you pick where you want to put your resources, put your time, put your efforts.
My notion is we came here with a purpose. We came here we designed, our reality is of our own creation. And we're connected at a minimum of two levels, at the all level and at the personal level. So all of us, for example, who came in as a boomer generation from 1946 through 64, all of us have, as a group, a shared purpose. We're going to individuate that purpose. We have a shared purpose, or we would not have made that choice to come in during that period of time.
Unity is a heightened sense of oneness, often found in the midst of nature. Step to the water on a windy day, and you will find in its reflection the circle of love that has been generated from all of humanity. There is no way to walk away from that moment without feeling and knowing your oneness.
I don't want to be necessarily around 7 billion people all the time, right? Sometimes I need the time alone, and that's why I have the lake place, right? To get away, to get out in nature and just to be, and to realize that you're insignificant in the greater scheme of things, but yet God has given you everything that you need in the nature around you to exist and to be happy and to get filled just from being out in nature, out in space.
Looking at the stars, I always look to the North Star or the moon. That makes me calm. It makes me feel like I'm really at peace with life and with what I'm going through. And there's just a handful of people that understand my situation. For me is a relationship with someone. One is a partner. I have illnesses where I depend solely on another person, and having that one person makes me feel whole. And if I didn't have that one person, I think I would feel a little bit lost. One is thinking of spiritual guidance, things that define who we are, the kind of person we want to be, how we want to be remembered when we die.
My job in HR, there are people who are all the time pulling on you, needing things, needing help, whether that's moral support or whether that's consultation, just a listening ear, and all that to me is draining. And so sometimes intentionally I want to escape almost, right? To be one for that period of time. But I understand that I've been blessed beyond measure, and with that is a responsibility to give back to the community, right? To provide for others that are less fortunate. And I take that responsibility very seriously, and you can't do that in isolation, right? I think if you go and hide, you're not fulfilling your responsibility. You're not utilizing the gifts that you've been given, whatever they are.
Our natural tendency is to leave good works in our pathways.
One little life in the vastness of 7 billion people, it means everything. Because one person, and let's say I'm that one person, and my mission this year, as 5 years ago, was to sponsor children in an orphanage in Nawansega and one in Uganda. One person sponsoring orphan children and widows in Kenya could make a difference in their lives. So every 3 to 5 years, you could say, let's raise whatever we're going to raise and let's help the global community.
Oneness within humanity is.
I got lucky in college. I had a opportunity to do this program called Semester at Sea, and it's where you hop on a boat with 400 other college kids and travel the world and see different parts of it. That was my first real experience with humanity in a global sense. But I found a lot about myself. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about humanity as a whole. I learned that we were at the top of this place called the Troco Gorge in Taiwan.
the number one communication tool that we had was laughter. And I thought that is the international language. And when you're 21 and you're silly, I think like we got away more with like laughter and handstands than we did anything. We would do a handstand and make someone laugh and they'd give us like a free cab ride, you know, or whatever it would be. In the most intense situations, and we would turn to laughter. And I think that is the secret to humanity. I mean, I think that is really it. When you can, we take life so seriously.
If I could change the world, I would gather every leader in the whole world, if I was the president, and I would say, let's all become one big nation. Let's all become one nation so we don't have to fight anymore. And we can remember ourselves as one big, happy family.
What is the number one to many? What is one to two? The power of one is that it can represent both. One group, two people in love under one roof. One race of mankind, human, and that's the truth. They often title people, that's one word, all equal. The reason behind the beautiful painting hanging on Mother Earth's easel that's covered with many colors. Working to help each other paint a bigger picture covered with my sisters and brothers. See, this is a generation brought up with teachings of changes and freedom and innovation. They feed us this education. What if God was Earth? It gives life and it takes it too. Then we're living on the proof, and I'm not that different from you. We all grow off a family tree, but your roots plant and share the same ground as me. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one. Human is the only race that I've seen.
If I were trying to figure out what my personal contribution to humanity was, I would just say a positive legacy, and no matter what it is you choose to do.
My legacy would be to help other people become empowered, help them to become resourceful, help them to have a better financial livelihood, because the accountant side says that nobody should suffer. To help them leave something, my legacy is to help them leave a legacy.
Here's an awesome responsibility for being a human being, and the responsibility is you do leave a legacy, but you just don't know what it is. Hopefully, if I do leave any kind of a legacy, I hope it's positive.
One day, this one moment is all that I really have inside of like creating what my legacy is.
If people would remember me, they would laugh, they would smile, and to speak well of me.
My legacy will be that I've left the world that I live in a better place.
And we all got the same feelings, the same needs. You know that the number one grows. It multiplies, starting with a single mind. It escalates high, you know our community. Just a branch of the tree that shares the same root from the ground we receive. We all grow off a family tree, but your roots plant and share the same ground as me. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one. Human is the only race that I've seen on their lives, right, the lives of humanity. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one. Human is the only race that I've seen on their lives, right, the lives of humanity. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one. I'm not the first to discover that this equality number can group us all up forever. Everyone working together, you'll see wherever you go. They travel similar roads, value the path that they chose, watching their life slowly grow. We're meant to travel the distance it takes to change what was written. Why is the thought of erasing any line seen as forbidden? Take care of what we were given. My race ain't nothing but human, so turn your mind to a movement and move some minds where we're moving. We all grow off a family tree, but your roots planted. find me on the next plane. Overseas, noticing they on the same page. That I read and they all bleed the same color. That I bleed and we all got the same feelings, the same needs. You know that the number one grows. It multiplies, starting with a single mind. It escalates high into one community. Just a branch off the tree that shares the same root from the ground we receive. We all grow off a family tree. Put your roots where they share the same ground as me. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. Human is the only race that I've seen on their lives, right? The lives of humanity. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one.
There is an angel and a beast in each of us. And we will never completely get rid of the beast, but we can keep encouraging the angel.
One. That's where the power is. That's where it lies. It only takes one. One encounter. One word. One word can change everything. And the direction you will go. Trust. One word. Believe. One word. Love. One word. Fear. One word. Hate. One word. Rage. One word. Compassion. One word. Yes. One word. No. One word. One God. One life force. One source. One decision away from your destiny. One is the beginning and the end. You start with one. You can only end with one. One is all of the numbers. Each number is only one number. It can't be two without the one being with it. One is connected with every number that follows it. And it cannot be what it is
without the one being with it to make it what it is. Huh? Think about that. Imagine a world where everyone was on one accord. Imagine a community, a household, a mother and a father, teachers, preachers, leaders, world leaders. Wow. Imagine what that would be. For the children, if every one of the leaders of the world were on one accord. My God. There would be no war. There would be commerce and sharing of knowledge and resources. Wow. Imagine the creativity that would come out of an environment like that. If we all cared about the same things, if we all cared about the children, all children, all of them, enough that we would lay down the weapons and turn away from that. And focus only on what is good and right for the children of the world. Imagine one world, one thing, one word. Yes, one thing, love. There's no place for the devil inside of one. He can only get on the inside when another number is added. He cannot get in between one. He can get in between numbers following the one. But not inside of one. Nope. One.